Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and had someone send me a link to something that I had to check out, and I'm going to flip it in here for you guys. We have a new pre-workout on the market called Enject, and you guys can see the ad right there. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, do a little bit of crafting, and let's talk about this for a few minutes. Cliff Notes. The Cliff Notes, you guys, some of you guys, if you're regular followers, you already know how I feel about pre-workouts. You already know how I feel about supplements and the industry in general. The Cliff Notes, pre-workouts are probably useless. No evidence that they do anything for muscle growth. Have the chance to be physically addictive, mentally addictive, or overpriced, and in many cases contain illegal drugs that cause people to even fail drug tests. And so they're a stupid idea as a general rule. And again, in some cases, they might even reduce your training gains over time. What's the point of this expensive ass shit? Now, a little more detail. What do I mean by some of that? And why is this everything that is wrong with the industry? Well, pretty much some of what I just stated right there. You know what, guys? There is no evidence whatsoever that pre-workouts help your gains. People are like, well, I train harder when I'm on them. Yeah, but they also ramp up your nervous system. They ramp up your central nervous system, your peripheral nervous system. When your peripheral nervous system gets fatigued from training, what happens? It takes you longer to recover. It takes you longer before you can train hard again. And that's fine if you're on tons of drugs, but what if you're not on tons of drugs? Then you lose muscle protein synthesis up time. So you get a slightly better workout, 1 extra rep, 10 more pounds on the bar, but then you can't train as heavy again for a couple more days unless you load even more stimulants into your body. But again, you're playing a recovery issue that over time is eventually going to catch up to you. It's going to lead to chronic overreaching faster. It's going to lead to burning out faster, and ultimately less gains over the course of months or the year. Stupid idea. On top of that, overpriced. Something that may actually hurt your gains costs what some of these pre-workouts cost. Are you fucking serious? Then oftentimes they've been caught many times, these companies throwing amphetamines in there, meth analogs, things like that, causes people to fail drug tests for sports, for drugs they didn't know they were taking, who are in tested things, whether it's physique or sports oriented. Still get drug tested, get popped for a drug you didn't know you were taking. And then to make it worse, sometimes people could actually test positive for meth due to some of the analogs in here and lose their job. Again, this industry doesn't give a fuck about you. And here's the worst part. What we've got, they've got this on with a syringe and calling it injected. You inject it into your mouth. Why? Because obviously things that you inject are better. They have a bunch of whited up dudes on there. And you guys know my stance. I'm okay with steroids if used by adults responsibly under the care of a medical doctor with blood work done. Are there still health risks? Yes. Are they perfectly safe to do that way? No, they are not. An educated adult owns their own body and they assume their own risks. It's a personal choice people choose to make. Things like TRT, though, do improve health and reduce mortality rates, but that's for people who medically need it. I, for example, do qualify for a number of reasons. But not everybody does, not everyone needs it, not everyone benefits in that regard. But we're talking about purely recreational type use. Well, again, I approve of adults doing it who make an educated choice under the care of a medical doctor. This is, again, just promoting some over-the-counter product that, again, they're trying to relate it to being steroid-like because you just inject and you squirt it in your mouth. And it's all hardcore, but it's still an over-the-counter shitty pre-workout that probably costs more than anabolic steroids do. I mean, let's be honest. What do some of these bottles cost? You look at the price tag on some of these hardcore supplements, they cost more than a bottle of testosterone. They cost sometimes they cost more than a bottle of trenbolone. Real injectable stuff that really works, that does improve gains, scientifically proven to improve gains, this stuff costs more. And people are like, yeah, but it's legal. Well, maybe it's legal. You don't know how many of these have been found to have felony level drugs mixed into some of these pre-workouts. It's happened many times. The FDA's caught these companies multiple times doing this. You assume it's legal. Let me ask you a simple question. Do you know it's legal? And that's well and good till you get popped on a drug test and you have to explain, no, I don't take illegal drugs. I take an over-the-counter supplement called Enject. Well, you know, you're still going to be banned in your sport and you're still going to lose your job. Not going to make a fuck that you thought you were taking a legal product. These companies don't give a fuck about you. And all these companies that come up with this new stuff, they're just trying to seem hardcore. They're trying to glorify the drug thing. But again, they're giving you an overpriced piece of shit product while marketing to the idea that injectable anabolic drugs give you performance gains, or marketing to that idea for the naive, taking advantage of people while giving them some shitty over-the-counter product that doesn't even help you, that honestly in the long term might even hurt your gains, and that can become addictive. And that's the big problem also with the pre-workouts, overpriced and useless, and then you become addicted to them sometimes to where you can't get a good workout without your 2 scoops. Well, now you're stuck having to buy a $40 a month product that you can't get a good workout without. Why? Because you're addicted to it. Now you can't train without it. How many guys go through that? Pre-workouts are the worst idea this industry has ever come up with. That people need a bunch of stimulants, addictive stimulants, in order to train. What happened to some good old black coffee, guys? What happened to eating a few carbs before you train? What happened to cranking up a little bit of music and just getting in your zone? Like seriously, how many of you really ever had a problem working out after drinking a couple cups of coffee and cranking up some music that you enjoy and love, whatever music style that happens to be? I don't care if it's metal, rap, or classical. I don't care if it's dubstep, man. Whatever the fuck gets you motivated and gets you hyped up. A little bit of coffee, have a little bit of rice or oatmeal before you go hit the weights, and you should be good. If you're needing more than that to hit the weights, there's a problem, guys. There's a problem with either you don't really enjoy the style of training that you were doing, you don't really love training as much as you think you do, and ultimately, you know what? If you don't love training and you don't love that lifestyle, then maybe you should consider a less hardcore form of training and less hardcore goals, because you don't love what you're doing. It's about the journey, guys, and if you don't love this journey, and you're only focused on the destination, but you don't enjoy the path to get there, maybe you need to rethink your destination a little bit. Go with a milder form of training. Just go with stuff that gives you the health benefits. Just gives you the fitness that you want. Maybe don't worry about trying to get to a 300-pound bench press, or don't worry about trying to get 18-inch biceps or that 500-pound squat. If you don't love training, those are probably not goals that you're going to reach unless you really and truly enjoy what you are doing. And if you enjoy what you're doing, you shouldn't need a bunch of over-the-counter expensive-ass stimulants to get you motivated to train. And if you are having problems with your motivation, but you do normally love the training, maybe you need to rethink your training approach. You are not recovering correctly. Your nervous system is getting fatigued. When you start to drag ass in the gym and all the weights just feel heavy and nothing feels right, you need to reprogram your training. You need to find a better routine, because whoever wrote your programming doesn't know what they're doing. And if you're writing your own programming and having these problems, well, there's your problem. The person writing their programming doesn't know what they're doing. I have plenty of simple routines out. A lot of fantastic coaches have some very simple, time-proven routines out that don't cost you anything. Just get on a better program, one that accounts for your fatigue, one that counts for weight resets, deloads, things like that, so that these things don't happen. Oftentimes, these pre-workouts and stimulants that people take is a Band-Aid fix for terrible training programming. It's not that you need a stimulant. It's that you're getting run down and having peripheral nervous system fatigue because your training is poorly written. And you'll be like, well, this person ran this type of program and they got amazing gains. Well, maybe they're very genetically gifted and they're on a shitload of drugs. When you have that combination of things, great genetics for recovery, and you're injecting extra recovery in a bottle, well, of course you can train more stupid than other people and still not burn out. But everyone else can't do that. And you know what? Maybe those guys burn out too sometimes, and they're just not telling you. You got to think about that also. Maybe they just don't tell you that fact. But again, proper training programming, getting a little more sleep. That is probably what you need to be motivated, not some stimulant that can be addictive that isn't going to actually help you in the long term. Again, there's no evidence whatsoever that these products actually do anything for your results. That's something that you have to realize, guys. There is no evidence at all. We're talking about products that actually, it's a toss-up as to whether they actually help or hurt your progress. But either way, they're still expensive, they're still addictive, and you really ultimately shouldn't need them at the end of the day. They're a Band-Aid fix for bigger problems in your training and lifestyle. And these companies just capitalize on this idea that people need this hardcore stuff, and they're capitalizing on the drug culture end of it with putting it in a syringe and inject, while actually not selling you the good stuff, but just charging you just as much, if not more, than the good stuff actually costs. Think about it. They're fucking you. They're going in hard without even giving you the goddamn common courtesy of some reach around. Think about it. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.